Let's see the next question in this exercise, question 7 to 5. We have been given 2 points and we are supposed to find out the ratio in which one intermediate point is dividing that line segment. Find the ratio in which the line segment joining A, some coordinates, and B, some other coordinates, is divided by the x-axis. Also, find the coordinates of the point of division. So let's draw a very basic diagram. Let's say we have this line segment and the end coordinates are given. Let's say this is point A, 1 comma negative 5. Another point is B, which is negative 4 comma 5. Now, there is an intermediate point which happens to lie on the x-axis. This information is important because any point which lies on the x-axis, its y-coordinate will be 0, and any point which lies on the y-coordinate, its x-axis x-coordinate will be 0. So when we assume the point's coordinate, we can assume that a comma 0. Why this is 0? Because y coordinate is 0 because it happens to lie on the x-axis. If it happens to lie on the y-axis, then x-coordinate will be 0. This information will simplify our process. Let the required ratio be k is to 1. Normally, we assume m is to n, which is absolutely fine. But when we don't know the ratio, it is recommended that we use the ratio k is to 1. If we use m is to 1, still we'll get correct answer. But since there are two variables involved, we'll have to get two equations and solve them simultaneously, which is a little bit time consuming. Instead of that, if we use k is to 1, since the second variable is now replaced by constant, we have to deal with only one variable. There is a possibility that this k will come out of a fraction, which is absolutely no problem. We can manipulate that. Let's see how it works out. So this is the k is to 1 ratio. Now it's always a good idea to make a list of all coordinates involved to the side because section formula is a little bit complicated and there is a chance that you will make a mistake in this cross multiplication. So let's say the points involved are x1, y1, x2, y2, and the intermediate point, let's call it as x comma y, which are assumed to be a comma 0. Here a is unknown and that's exactly we are trying to find out. And also the k value is unknown. When we have the section formula, we normally use m is to n and then we cross multiply mx2 plus nx1 like that one. But if we have k is to 1, then the intermediate points formula coordinates will be given by this one. Now, is it a different formula? Absolutely no. It's instead of m is to n, now we are replacing m by k and n by 1. Since it is 1, we are not even writing it. So it's the same formula, but instead of m and n, now we are using k and 1. And since there is 1, so even if we don't write in the multiplication, that's fine. So this formula is not different what you see in the textbook. Now, we can concentrate on x-axis, x coordinates, or we can concentrate on y coordinates. But if you refer to this intermediate point, the y coordinate is 0. So I will prefer using the y side first, simply because the y coordinate is known. And on top of that, it is 0. So hopefully it will help me in cross multiplication. Let's see. So I will use this particular formula. So k times y2 is 5 and 1 times y1 is negative 5 upon k plus 1 equal to 0. Why it is 0? Because finally this y coordinate is 0 because it happens to lie on the x-axis. Now, if you cross multiply, this k plus 1 times 0 is 0. So this will further simplify 5k minus 5. Negative 5 can be taken to other side, becomes positive 5. We will divide both sides by 5. So k will become 1. So we got the value of k directly by concentrating on the y coordinate first because it was known, and on top of that it was 0. So that simplified our process. When we cross multiply, this fraction basically disappeared, which is fantastic. Now we can get this value of k. The ratio is k is to 1. So that means this intermediate point divides the line segment into 1 is to 1 ratio. It must be a midpoint. Now we can use this k value and now concentrate on the x coordinate. So we'll use this space. Now the a value, which is the x coordinate of the entire point is given by, again, k times x2, 1 times x1, and then k plus 1. So if you cross multiply that, that will come out to be, or if you simplify that, negative 4 times 1 plus 1 divided by 2, which will be negative 3 by 2. So that means the point of division is simply a comma 0 or negative 3 by 2 comma 0. That's your final answer.